Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. So this is an old article. I just thought that I would add my opinion to what is being printed here. And we know how mass media are. However, they did at least print the article. Let's see what they said. Ghost dog actress says Danny Masterson sexually assaulted her twice in 1996. He was rough. Actress Trisha Vesey, cleared to testify as a prior bad acts witness in a last-minute ruling, says she woke up to Masterson blank with her, which technically, you see how they worded it? He was R-ing her. If it's non-consensual, in case nobody knew, that means it's the R word. After she passed out at a party. Oh, they made it sound really nice there, didn't it? By Nancy Dillon, November 9th, 2022. Actor Danny Masterson has been charged with forcibly R-ing three women on separate occasions between 2001 and 2003. Ghost dog actress Trisha Vesey stepped forward at Danny Masterson's serial R trial in Los Angeles Wednesday and gave her first public testimony, claiming the That 70s Show star forced himself on her twice. In 1996, when she was too inebriated. That's not true. That was completely misleading what they're saying here. Well, I'll just read it, so I don't know the whole story. When she was too inebriated to consent to sex. Because we know he drugs women, so it's interesting how they're playing that one, right? The actress who gave Rolling Stone permission to use her name told jurors the first alleged incident happened the night of a wrap party for the movie she filmed with Masterson and fellow actor Justin Pierce that year. She said Masterson rattled her with an unrelenting cold stare at a Los Angeles restaurant named La Poubelle, and then had blank sex with her while she was passed out cold during an after party that turned into a group sleepover at his Laurel Canyon house. Vesey, 50, broke her silence as a prior bad acts witness, called by prosecutors to show an alleged pattern of behavior on the part of Masterson. She said Masterson seemed to be fixated on her every move, shortly before the alleged attack. It's like they're going for their prey. It seems like all the men that do this, they act the same way, including LAPD officers. It was unsettling. It was very focused and hard to read, she told jurors, describing Masterson's alleged stare. It was just kind of a rattling, unnerving, having someone kind of cold stare at you in a very hard way. Vesey said while she was confused by Masterson's behavior at La Poubelle, she believed they had become friends. So she didn't think twice about going with the group back to his house to continue the party. She said after consuming several drinks and taking a hit off a blunt. You see how they tried to frame that, you guys? I mean, it could be true, though. I think the drinks are drugged, though. She agreed with the group it was best that they spend the night. She then fell asleep, fully clothed and admittedly drunk. See how they're painting this? No means no. On the floor of a room where Pierce was crashed out on a bed, she said. I woke up to Danny trying to pull me up and out of the room, Vesey said. She said Masterson accused Pierce of trying to take advantage of her. She recalled trying to rebuff Masterson because that wasn't the case. I was on the floor and woke up to him over me trying to lift me up, she testified. He was kind of like trying to scoop me up off the ground. I didn't get up. I kicked him away with my foot and was like pushing him off of me and saying that nothing was happening, that Justin wasn't doing anything to me, and I just wanted to sleep and I wanted to stay there. This is what a predator looks like, you guys. Vesey said she blacked out at that point, but then regained some awareness. It's because he drugged the drinks. As Masterson was hoisting her down a hallway to another bedroom, it seemed like he had her arms around me, sort of, like dragging me by the waist. She said, I was only conscious for a flash. Imagine what a sick, depraved individual you are, that the only way you can get off with a woman is to drug her. Sick. And then are her? Ugh. Masterson, a prominent Scientologist, he's still a Scientologist, by the way. Masterson, a prominent Scientologist who has pleaded not guilty to 3 charges of forcible R related to 3 other Jane Doe accusers, listened quietly to Vesey's testimony with no expression, because he's a psychopath. He scribbled some notes as she described the alleged first encounter. I am secretly wondering how many more of these guys are in Scientology. There's a lot of Hollywood dudes doing this. Vesey said she didn't recall Masterson removing any of her clothes. Yes, because she was blacked out. But she later woke up on a bed in a different room with Masterson assaulting her. Danny was having sex with me, she said. He was on top of me. So sick. At that point, Vesey lost her composure and needed a minute to continue. He was penetrating me, blanky, and I just remember waking up from being unconscious and him being above me. Masterson's wife, Bijou Phillips, watched from the gallery, also with no expression. Wow. Seated beside her were sisters China and Mackenzie Phillips. Is that the Mackenzie Phillips from One Day at a Time? If it is, I'm going to go back and look at something. Los Angeles County Deputy District Attorney Reinhold Mueller asked if Vesey recalled feeling Masterson's body weight on top of her. Yes, he was very rough, she said. I just remember sort of trying to take in what was happening. I mean, I was pretty disoriented. And honestly, I don't think I was conscious for very long. Yeah, because, that's how those kind of men like it. Vesey said Masterson was pounding her during the alleged assault. So it was confusing when she later woke up to find Masterson smiling at her. She recalled quickly gathering her clothes and leaving. Imagine the mentality of someone like that after he did all that to her. And now he's smiling. Sick. I completely shut down and just got dressed and left the room, she told the jury, breaking down in tears. I just didn't know what to make of the situation. I didn't like him, and I didn't think he even liked me, and I just didn't know how to process it. As her hands trembled, Vesey said she had a hard time processing what happened. I didn't know how to categorize it. I definitely felt a deep shame and disrespected because I thought I was hanging out with my castmates and maybe friends, and I had a very different assessment of the situation. Vesey said the second alleged assault happened a few weeks later. You guys know they can't stop at one, right? Very similar to Cosby and probably a lot of the other men that do this. When Masterson showed up at her apartment, unannounced with a group of guys, oh my God. Take note, women. Anything like that happens, you don't let them in, and call the police if you have to. She said the group quickly departed, leaving Masterson behind. According to Vesey, Masterson followed her back to her apartment and gave her a couple of swigs from a flask of whiskey. Soon after, she started to feel woozy, she testified. She claimed Masterson then forced himself on her again. I was telling him I didn't want to have blank with him, she testified. I was telling him to stop. That's because no means no. I was also telling him that he didn't have a condom on, and I was worried about him using a condom. The only thing I recall him saying was diseases were in the mind. Wow. Under cross-examination by Masterson's defense lawyer, Philip Cohen, heard this name before. Putting the dots together. Vesey was grilled over the fact that she allowed Masterson into her home a few weeks after the first alleged assault, instead of being terrified of him. Like I testified, I hadn't processed the R clearly. I was pretty confused. I was unnerved. He would present different aspects, she testified. Also, this reminds me of one of the Bill Cosby victims. I forgot what her name was. She explained like exactly similar stories to this. Vesey conceded that when she first reported her experience with Masterson to police in 2019, she told the detective that she didn't feel comfortable categorizing it as a R. Vesey's previously confidential allegations were initially excluded from the trial. I'd like to know which detective took her report, too. But Judge Charlene Olmedo reversed course Monday and said she would allow Vesey to testify as a prior bad acts witness. The judge said she decided to change her ruling because she wasn't caught off guard by Masterson's defense, suggesting to jurors that some of the alleged blank described in prior testimony from Jane Doe 3 never took place. Judge Olmedo said she believed Masterson's defense to Jane Doe 3's allegations was that the alleged blank was consensual, not that some of it was fabricated. So he changed his story, I think. Jane Doe 3, who has publicly identified herself as Chrissy Carnell Bixler, testified earlier in the trial that Masterson assaulted her twice at the end of 2001, toward the end of a troubled domestic relationship. She said the first assault involved Masterson initiating blank with her while she was sleeping. I woke up and he was having blank with me. That's R-ing. I did not want him. I told him so. I told him. No, many times, she testified. He wouldn't stop. I was trying to push him off me. He pushed my arms back and put his forearm on my arm. I felt trapped. Carnell Bixler also testified that Masterson struck her in the face, spit on her, and called her white trash. When she pulled his hair to defend herself, she testified the second attack involved Masterson blanking her from the behind while she was passed out. Maybe he does this because he's so ugly. I don't know. Jane Doe 1 and Jane Doe 2 also have taken the witness stand in the high-profile trial. Jane Doe 1 told jurors last month that Masterson R'd her and put a blank to her head after feeding her a fruity vodka cocktail at his home in 2003. She claimed the actor threatened her and demanded that she not tell her friends. including Lisa Marie Presley, about the alleged assault. You're not going to tell effing Lisa, Jane Doe 1 said Masterson told her. Jane Doe 2, meanwhile, told jurors that Masterson R''d her at his home in late 2003 after feeding her a glass of wine that caused her to feel limp. She claims the actor ignored her pleas to stop and overpowered her. For his part, Masterson has called the women's allegations outrageous and ridiculous. Doesn't that sound like Scientology? Deny, deny, deny. His lawyer asked for a mistrial shortly before the lunch break, Wednesday, arguing that Mueller led Vesey into territory that the court previously ruled was off limits. One such area was that suggestion that Masterson may have drugged Vesey. Well, we know now, don't we? Judge Olmedo declined to grant a mistrial and said she was open to a suggestion from the defense about an instruction she could give to the jury. She said while it was true jurors heard from Vesey that she didn't think the amount of alcohol and marijuana she consumed the night of the wrap party should have caused her to black out, there was no testimony that Masterson handed her any of her beverages, as was the case with the other 3 Jane Does. In another twist revealed Wednesday morning, Mueller said prosecutors had decided not to call Presley to the stand. He said the decision was based on Olmedo's Tuesday ruling that Presley's testimony would be strictly limited in terms of references to Scientology. Why is that? Prosecutors had hoped to question Presley, a former Scientologist, about an alleged effort by the church to get Presley to dissuade Jane Doe 1 from speaking with law enforcement. Based on the court's ruling, we've opted not to have her testify, Mueller told the judge. So that's it, you guys. I will put the link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Have a good day.